How's it going, guys? Welcome to another episode of The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. Guys and gals, we want to make sure that we don't discriminate there.
See, that's not fair. I use guys for everything. People
I do
walk into
too.
a restaurant. What's going on, guys?
20 girls.
Which is odd because I think Megan, with Mr. Pickles, they teach them to say certain things depending on who's walking in.
Hello, senior citizen.
Yeah, no, I just feel like I think it's more discriminatory not calling everybody guys.
Don't assume. Don't assume, bro.
It's 2017. Everyone's guys.
Yeah.
It's been that way forever.
See, you just started some shit, Danny.
Did you put that sign up on your bathroom yet?
No, we haven't. Our restrooms are still male and female. I was in the female restroom the other day, but I had to fix something. I wasn't using the restroom. But
Bro, that might be harassment. You better be careful.
I was asking my employees if they would feel weird if I made them gender neutral, and the guys all didn't care, but all the girls were like, "No, I don't want guys coming in the women's restroom." And so I'm like,
That's where it's a bigger deal.
"Yeah,
I mean,
it's
it's
so
always
weird,
will
though.
be.
Why is it that way?" It was just funny because Joe Rogan kind of had that whole thing in his comedy special about how girls got super offended and guys are just like, "Oh yeah, whatever."
It's fucking funny. Yeah, we do jerk off to the NBA.
Yeah, but in like real issue shit, it's the exact same thing. It's so weird.
Guys don't care. That's the funny thing.
Well, I think there was a situation where like a guy like molested a little girl in the girl's bathroom somewhere. That was last week.
Yeah.
So it's like,
last week?
This last week, yeah. Like it just happened.
Shit.
It's like, oh, shocker.
Was he gonna? This goes into the same scenario. If a guy's gonna do something, he's gonna do something, regardless of what the sign on the door says.
But now women can't be like, oh, there's a guy in the bathroom, let's kick him out. Now it's just like, oh, well, he
I
could
see what
be
you're saying.
claiming something.
I haven't really heard any situations like that. I mean, what do employees do when somebody does complain that there's a male in the women's restroom? Do they wait for him to come out? Do they go in there? What do you do in there?
I think it's just
You know
by
what I would do
policy.
is I'd send a male employee in there
To get the male out
to
of
get the
women's
male
restroom?
out. Yeah, because you're gonna send a woman in there.
Well, then you got two males in there.
No, but one's an authority.
I would feel
figure.
more comfortable if I had a female coming to me saying that there is a male employee in the female restroom.
Right.
You send a man in there,
Obviously.
or like your
males are
or
superior.
your
That's
cross.
what you're saying,
no,
right?
Or I was about to say, or your CrossFit chick, like Annie Torres' daughter. Like
Oh,
send her in there.
We're going to get in so much trouble for this
No,
podcast.
and you say I'm bad. He crossed so many lines there. He's so much worse than
She
me.
go kick his ass, man.
I will tell you that my management staff is male and female, and either one of them could do anything that I could do because I am in the year of 2017 and we are
Those are the
all
conversations,
equal.
and he comes back and he's just like, "Oh man."
So and so can't do anything.
No, that's crazy. I did not hear that story. So a week ago, somebody just molested a little girl.
Sometime in the last week.
Oh, damn. Well, see, and that's the shit. That stuff's gonna happen, and people are gonna be like, "No, they can't have gender neutral restrooms because this is gonna happen."
I don't care what you call yourself, what pronoun you decide is. If you have a dick, you're going to the men's restroom. If you get out of a JJ, you're going to the women's restroom.
What if you surgically don't have a dick anymore?
Then I guess technically, by definition, then you're not a man.
So it's okay for that person to go into the.
If you have a pee-pee, you can't go in the women's restroom. It's just, I mean, come on.
Wow. So the story is this. It's October 20th.
Was the wild towards Trevor or towards
No,
your story?
no, it's still the story. Well, technically, he
peepees.
brought the story up. But the story is, I mean, it's on the Daily Wire, so I don't know. That's probably it's by Matt Walsh. That people are going to say that's super conservative. But
I see what you're saying.
as the Daily Wire reported yesterday, a transgender man is on trial for allegedly raping a 10-year-old girl in a bathroom. Miguel Martinez, who claims to be a woman named Michelle, allegedly lured the girl into a bathroom where he then allegedly brutally accosted and raped her. The details of the alleged assault are sickening, and he will not get into them here, but all the other media outlets have made sure to put that up there.
So Michelle lures 10-year-old into a restroom and rapes her
With her penis.
with her penis. So she's
A guy.
a guy
Yeah.
pretending to be a girl.
Yes.
Yeah.
So not actually transgender, just using the law to her advantage.
Yeah, but the issue is all the LGBT media is saying that she is a she and she's a woman, even though she still did this. Like it's a weird. It's that whole. It's the whole gender divide again. But still, it's the nightmare scenario. Was basically what we're trying to say. Is the nightmare scenario?
It's what was brought up when they were trying to make this a law. It's like, hey, this could happen. It's like, oh, shocker, it happened.
Yeah,
it's weird.
Yeah, you don't see that getting a lot of play on the media, do you? If I'm just
No.
hearing about it now and it's October 20th is when it was, reported.
Well, see, here's what I'm trying to wrap this around my head, because I'm saying, like, would the story be just as big if it was just a female taking a 10-year-old into the women's restroom and raping her?
Yeah.
Or is it only? Well, I know, but is it a big deal because it's a transgender doing it?
It's a bigger story because
It's a bigger story. That's what I mean.
for
No,
sure.
I would say it's not a bigger story. Case in point, because it is that. If it was just a guy that went into the restroom and raped her, then it's a big story. But because he claims to be a woman, it's not a big story.
It is. He is right. It's getting pushed under the rug. It is being. It's because
Because it's a controversial
it's buried.
story?
Yes,
because it paints a bad light.
it
on
goes
that community.
against the agenda of that particular team. It goes against the liberal media's
But
agenda.
that doesn't make sense. Isn't that what they would want?
No, not the liberal.
Not the
Oh,
media.
not the
liberal
liberals.
media.
No, I'm saying the other side. So when do they make?
Well,
a
yeah,
big
it's
story?
all on conservative media though, which liberal media is just going to say, "Oh, they're just witch hunting."
That's why it says allegedly, because they're like, no, this couldn't have happened. It's a woman.
Got it. But it did happen.
Yeah,
Yes.
So I don't know how you could allegedly do something like that.
it's innocent till proven guilty. So yeah,
I mean, yeah, but
In my head, she said she wanted it. but-
unless I mean,
Jeez. Oh, yeah.
man, that'd be weird.
It's a
I don't
gray
know.
area.
What if it ends up not being true? Is everybody going to come back and retract their story and apologize?
Oh.
Probably not.
It's the same thing as all the sexual harassment claims. Like there was a situation that happened. I think it was Centennial College, maybe Centennial. I don't know.
That sounds right.
Yeah, but it was of the guy. Remember the guy and the girl, and the guy's life got ruined because there were a bunch of
Yes.
drunken text messages between the two of them, and they ended up hooking up. And there was like text messages going back and forth. The girl saying like, "I'll bring condoms." Like, yeah, let's do it. They're college kids, 18, 19 years old or whatever, and they hooked up. And then the next day, she was talking with her friends. I was like, God, I kind of regret being drunk and having sex last night. And her friend's like, oh my gosh, that's rape. And the dude got dragged through the mud, got kicked out of the college. It eventually all came out because there were text messages of her saying, I want to sleep with you. I'm going to bring condoms. And he's just,
It's so
yeah.
weird.
He's like, all right.
yeah, and he's a guy. Like, what? Seriously, he's probably like, yeah, score. Like, this is awesome. This is what college is all about.
No way, dude. He was probably like, oh, I don't know. I got a midterm tomorrow. Maybe we shouldn't. Come on, don't paint us all in a. Come on, don't put me in a box.
But the whole point is, he got his life ruined because of it. And he was innocent.
Yeah, no.
Like, it
it's
was
crazy.
nothing wrong with what he did. And that's that fine line between, is someone's life going to be ruined because you're going, obviously it's a way different scenario than a young girl being,
Right.
abused like this in a bathroom, but you have to be able to define these lines of what is harassment and what is not, which brings us to the whole Harvey Weinstein thing that we want to talk about.
Yeah, well, I mean, clearly everything he's done is harassment. There's no hope.
Yeah.
It is very black and white.
Decades long.
Yeah, decades long worth of.
And people knew about it.
I think that's so. The one thing that upsets me the most about it is just the power that he had, that he used for it. It
And
wasn't
still
like
does.
and still does. Yes, and this is just one person.
Oh, yeah.
Everybody joked about it, even if it wasn't Harvey. It was just something else. Somebody trying to get a job or
it's-
something like that. It's like, oh, what'd you do to get the job?
It's a
It's
casting
like-
couch model. That's what it
Yeah.
is. It really is.
Good choice of words.
It is.
I've never seen this before.
But honestly, it is, right? It's the whole like, what are you going to do for this job? And this is what everyone does.
Yeah.
You always have to try harder than the
Yeah.
last person.
Oh man, it
Sure,
is.
he tried harder.
I think that's like sexual harassment. It is what it is. I mean, some people will get offended easier than others, especially now in employee relations and stuff like that. It's a lot harder to define what actually is and what isn't. It's almost to the point where everything is, and it's easier to find what's not.
Yeah.
But then you get in a situation like this, the Harvey Weinstein thing. When you have so many actresses and actors that are coming out and be like, yeah, we all kind of knew this was going on. We all just swept it under the rug. Like, that just makes me sick.
It's it's kind of the culture of Hollywood,
It's
and now you've
disgusting.
got people like how that Corey Feldman kid, like he's coming out and actually he named someone, I think, on that Dr. Oz show.
He's named
someone.
multiple people, and he's been talking about it for years, ever since Corey Haim died, because
Yeah.
he was affected by it too. Because Feldman was on like The View or The Talk or something like that, and one of the hosts on that show is just like, "Why are you trying to ruin Hollywood?" She's defending
yeah.
those type of people.
It's that mentality. It's a lot of money. There's a lot of money involved, and like you said, and all the worst part is you have this guy who can make or break you in Hollywood. This
Yeah.
Harvey Weinstein guy. Who knows how many more there are like him? But you've got this guy who is absolutely in control of your future. Or at least you believe so. He may or may not be, but you believe it.
I mean, pretty much was with some of them. I
Yeah.
mean, I would imagine. I mean, some
You
of
will
them,
not, you know, how many times have you seen the movie? You will not work in this city again. You
Yeah.
will not work in this industry again unless you do this, you know? And Rogan was talking about on his podcast, and Whitney Cummings, the famous comedian, she was talking about how she's in kind of in the industry, in the know and all that. And she said, how many, you know, we have all these girls coming out and talking about all the stuff that he did. How many actually did what these girls refused to do? How many hundreds and hundreds of girls actually were like, oh yeah, I guess I better do this.
This is
to
my
say
way
this.
in.
Yeah, this is my way in. Yeah, exactly. And everyone was so chummy with this guy. They were all like best friends, taking pictures, like, I mean, just hanging out with him. And
well, that's the thing. It's the people you don't think about that are the worst. I mean, we'll even look at, I mean, the OJ scenario. Everybody was saying how OJ is like the greatest guy in the world. He's so personable, this and that. And then look at what he got into. But obviously-
Allegedly, he was never convicted.
Yeah, whatever.
Yeah.
Obviously, apples and oranges, sexual harassment and murder, very different
Yeah.
things. But
Well,
are they?
Yeah. The crazy thing is, the latest thing I heard was that Weinstein has been like, allegedly, his friends are been reported as saying that he's telling them that this all happened for a reason, and that he is a sacrificial goat that was meant to bring down this culture of
Yeah. I
you
heard
know,
that.
Yeah.
He's playing the sympathy card.
Yeah.
He's
Kind of-
Jesus, basically.
Yes.
Kind of exactly what Kevin Spacey's doing.
Oh,
Is-
Kevin Spacey. Oh, I'm gay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pulled that
Scapegoat.
card out just at the perfect time. It's just been such a struggle. I'm so glad I could finally come out and be myself now that all this is coming forth, and I'm going to be a better person because of it. Have you seen all the backlash he's getting from that community?
Oh,
Saying,
yeah.
like, oh, he's not in our community. We don't acknowledge that. I mean,
Yeah. It was a very
the kid was
blatant
14.
blatant display of like, hey, this is my white flag getting thrown up right now to try to stay alive.
Mhm.
So I mean, and then with the Harvey Weinstein stuff, you have guys like Terry Crews that came out and said that he's been in situations like this, not with Weinstein, but just with Hollywood in general, of how they would just grope you like you're just a piece of meat.
Yeah.
Compared to being an actual person.
Brian Callen was talking about that on The Fighter and the Kid. He was talking about how it's like a well-known thing where guys will, you know, they'll make passes at you. He mentioned all kinds of people. He mentioned like Hulk Hogan has said that he's had passes made at him. Different people. He named a whole bunch of like famous actors and stuff that have actually been public about saying like, yeah, that dude tried to grab my dick, or like, you know, like craziness. It's not just the women. And I mean, obviously it's way worse for the women because this dude has, you know, he's a guy physically imposing.
Yeah.
I mean, he's ugly as fuck, but I mean, he's physically imposing and he's got all this power and he feels a little more trapped. Guys are going to be like, hey, you know, sorry, not into that. But
Yeah.
for a
But
girl,
not
like,
kids though.
yeah, and not kids. And especially that's the thing that is even crazier is you've got this potential just hundreds of kids. It's like a culture in Hollywood that kids are abused.
Well, Elijah Wood even talked about it too.
Yeah.
He was one of the more known kid actors that stay famous as an adult.
Mhm.
Whereas Feldman's just like, oh, you know, he's been in the drugs.
And
with
he's a little
pain.
crazy, you know, like
Yeah.
that's the thing too, is I think a lot of people are trying to discredit him. I think the people like Hollywood in general is discrediting Corey Feldman because of that.
I'll tell you what, it explains a lot more of why they go crazy the older they get, because they probably went through so much shit as child
the-
stars and stuff like that.
The abuse, the mental abuse that they have to
Yeah.
deal with, and to keep it hush hush. Makes you wonder if their parents knew about it too.
Here's one thing that I wonder, now that all these stories are coming out and all this craziness is happening, you think there's going to be some fake news that comes out of it? People that are just going to try to throw their name into the hat just so they could be a part of this whole, oh, that happened to me too, even if it didn't, kind of thing?
Why not? It's the hot topic right now, and who doesn't want to be hot?
And yeah, and that's the scary part too, is now
Whose
you
careers
just,
are going to be ended by something that didn't actually happen.
yeah, like if I don't like you, say I hate you and you're at a rival production company, who's to say that I don't create a headline? I get some young guy to say, or some young girl to say like, oh yeah,
Or one
This
of your
guy.
big stars?
yeah, when I make sure to say, oh yeah, this guy over here at that production company, man, I heard a rumor that he did this allegedly, and once a headline's created, that's it. That's
mean,
it.
In a sense, I'm saying it is great that all this is coming out. And
It needs
it's-
to.
It definitely needs to. And I mean, I remember before all this even came out, Taylor Swift was having this big thing with a producer. Apparently there was a picture online of him like grabbing her butt or something like that during a photo. And she said something about it. Nothing ever happened about it. And she ended up suing him over it. And she used her money for all the court fees and all that stuff. Like, she wasn't trying to win anything. I think she ended up winning, but she didn't sue for any money. It was just to bring it to light. I think she ended up winning like $1. Like, she sued for $1, but just to bring it to light. And it's crazy. Now all this it's just women empowerment is becoming like the thing. And it's cool to see, because then you're going to see the younger generation not really putting up with stuff like that. You're not going to see any other Harvey Weinsteins out there fucking with girls anymore. Girls are going to be more empowered and be like, no,
they're going to feel like they have an out. They're going to feel like they're not trapped that way. Well, like, look at the whole Kesha thing with her.
What happened with Kesha?
Remember Kesha, her record producer? Apparently he abused her and all that stuff, and then she was like trying to fight back against it, but she was in a contract with the guy for her next record, and that's why she didn't release any records for like 3 years.
Yes.
And she didn't win.
Yeah.
Yeah, she didn't win because he used the argument of like, well, look what she promotes. Look at the lifestyle she lives. Look at all this stuff. So
that is the fine line argument that every male that is being accused of harassment uses, is like, well, you made it seem like this is what you wanted. Or
look at the way you dress.
The way you act and the way you dress is the way I interacted with you.
And here's one thing I want to say. We're not like being white knights over here. Like, we're not being like, oh yeah, oh man, everything guys say are bad and everything, the girls say, like, we're defending the girls of everything they say.
Definitely not.
No, but if you're a real man, if he sees a situation like that, is going to beat the fuck out of any other guy that's doing stuff like that. You'll get involved. And you hear tons of stories of guys doing that. And the fact that so many guys are using the guise of being a white knight and saying like, oh, I support you, just to slide in her DMs. You know what I mean? Like, you know what I mean? Like, there's a lot of guys that do that. It's the whole, like, these, you can picture the guy right now, he's just there and he's just I got your back, girl. I got your back. How dare him? How dare you? You want to come over to my place later? We'll talk about it. We'll cry together.
Yeah, it's the guy that, shares the post that the girls post where it's like, I just want a guy that wants to hang out at home and not party and just Netflix and eat pizza. It's that guy that's sharing that to try to get into your pants.
Yeah, the dude that like went on the women's march just to get girls' numbers. That guy.
I mean, the numbers add up. So.
Yeah.
He's like, hey, come over. Let's watch House of Cards.
Yeah.
Just
pretty good there. Good job,
just
Trevor.
But no, yeah, I hear you. And obviously, like, yeah, that's what we're saying. We're not the best of people, but you know the difference between right and wrong and that line. And I mean, obviously, yeah, you may flirt with it sometimes and accidentally say something you shouldn't say, but you don't take it to the point of what Harvey Weinstein did.
The issue is too, and I listened to Brian Callen talk about this a lot because he is involved with Hollywood and he kind of has the in on like what's going on in there. And he was talking about how it's hard to define the line for sexual harassment because a lot of these things that people do is biology. If you go out and you ask a girl, hey, can I get your number at a bar? That's not sexual harassment. That's not. And the scary thing is as a society, we don't want to villainize that. That's biology. That's young people. If the girl's not interested and the guy goes, oh, okay, no problem, and walks away, that's not sexual harassment.
But if the dude's drunk,
if the dude's drunk, let me get your number, whack, smack on the ass, and is like, okay, well then that's sexual harassment. You can't do that. But
does it
villainizes the poor guys that are just...
Does it go both ways, though?
What do you mean? Oh, girls doing it to guys?
Girl grabs a guy's butt in the bar.
Yeah, but he's not going to get any sympathy.
You don't hear that story.
No,
I've had it happen to me. I was downtown with my cousins for 50th, or not 50th. It was
for your 50th?
Not my 50th. Sorry.
You age quickly when you're married.
I don't remember whose birthday it was. It was one of my cousin's birthday. But we all ended up going to the boardroom afterwards. And we're like, oh, cool. We'll all go in. We're all dressed nice. Perfect. I mean, you can't go into the boardroom without having a collared shirt. We were dressed to the T.
Noel's ass was looking fine.
I was in some tight pants. Yeah, but watch your language. I don't know you like that. But anyways, so we end up going to the bar. We're all hanging out, just chilling. I'm not flirting with anybody or anything like that. And all of a sudden,
you weren't trying to get free drinks?
No. I'm with family. My game's not on at this point. But But so just saying there, all of a sudden this group of girls walks by, and then one of the girls just grabs my butt and laughs and fucking walks away.
Oh my god, I'm so dangerous right now. Oh my god.
I'm sitting there and just like, if I was to do that, I would have had a fist in my freaking face like 2 seconds later, and
or 50 girls yelling at you.
Yeah.
How dare you touch her?
Yeah.
How fucking did you guys see what this fucker just did right now?
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Fucking Harvey Weinstein over there.
Oh my god. That's going to start soon, by the way. There's going to be people calling that name out.
But yeah, I mean, obviously I didn't care because it is what it is.
No.
But
And that's the problem, though. Guys don't care.
yeah, I guess that is the problem. But I just, in my head, I was sitting there thinking, like, if the situation was flipped, how differently everything could have
Oh,
went.
that's everything. That's everything. If you look at like commercials, if you sometimes you'll see that baby in the commercials getting, hugged on by beautiful women. And Rogan always says, if it was flipped, if it was a bunch of like dudes in tuxedos that look like James Bond and a little girl in like a dress and they're all like kissing on her and stuff, we'd lose our shit. But because it's a little boy and women, it's a huge difference.
And why is that?
It's double standard.
That's the thing I don't understand is like we want equality for everyone. And then when it comes to sexual harassment and sexuality things, nobody wants equality.
Oh.
Women want what they need because they know it's right, and guys should be happy with what they have. And I mean, it's hard to sit here and be like, that doesn't make sense. But in certain situations it does. But logically it doesn't. If we were in Star Trek and what's his face, the fucking Spock, was trying to figure all this out, he'd be like, no, this doesn't make sense.
Yeah. It's just an interesting world we live in when it comes to stuff like that, because you can go online and find arguments for both sides of the fence on any issue now. I mean, you're going to find support for both sides of the fence. Now, whether those sources are valid and whether it's actually an educated person that's writing that source, that's a different story. But you could go on Google and you could search, why is the wage gap, why is the gender pay gap, why is that an issue for the side that's arguing for it and the side that's saying it's total BS, which is what it is. It doesn't exist. Even though our past president, Obama, actually went on and said that women make 77 cents to the dollar, they don't. That's not a valid point. If anything, it's a cent or two off, and it's only because guys tend to work dangerous jobs that cost your life and women don't take those risks. And that also men in negotiating their original salaries tend to negotiate a little harder. Women tend to negotiate harder for other people, by the way, like female agents and stuff. They will negotiate for their clients, but women tend to, take time off to have a child, which is part of that gender pay gap that they talk about. And then also they tend to take jobs that are more creative. Men tend to take jobs like coal mining and oil rigging where they can make a ton of money, but they also can die super young. And that's the whole pay gap. That's what the pay gap is. It's not you and I both doing the same accounting job. And
yeah, anytime you're talking about some type of gap, I mean, there's so many factors that play into it. I mean, even just saying how many households are it where the male only works and the female stays home? Not because that's how he wants it to be or how she wants it to be. That's just the way it is for that family. So yeah, obviously the male's going to make more than the female because the female doesn't work. Not by society saying that's how it should be. That's just how your household works out.
Because every situation,
Trevor, you're in that situation. I mean, you don't sit there and say I'm better than Iris because you work and she doesn't. That's just how your household is. But if she was working your same job, she'd probably be making just as much as you are. I mean, when you use the wage gap thing, it just doesn't make sense to me. Mm-hmm. I know plenty of females.
The facts don't back it up. That's
exactly. But I understand what they're fighting for, because then you got situations like soccer, where the women's soccer team doesn't make nearly as much as the men's soccer team.
And they're killing it.
Exactly. So how do you explain that?
I mean, the men's national team doesn't even make it to the freaking World Cup.
Exactly.
Which clearly solved the whole problem right there.
Yeah. See, and then I think that's what obviously gives them a little bit of a backbone to sit there and be like, something's off.
Yeah.
But nobody does anything about it.
No.
It's still the same situation, and that's what's kind of weird.
That's where it's different though too, because that's a sports related thing, not necessarily in every average Joe normal household.
It's like an outlier.
It's like comparing the NBA to WNBA. Obviously, NBA players are gonna make more money because there's more money involved in that.
They're making more.
Yeah,
and people are watching it.
That's the thing too. The viewership numbers are huge. It's all money. And everything we always talk about always boils down to money. It always does. It's just society.
Dude, you know what? This is very off topic, but I was thinking about it today and yesterday and the day before. It's been a long time of me thinking.
Shocker.
Yeah, right?
Don't hurt yourself.
Yeah. So I'm sitting there and I'm thinking about the whole NFL situation and how advertisers keep pulling out, and it's
Papa John's.
Papa John's was the most recent. And then I start thinking about it. I'm like, why would advertisers pull out of the NFL, which obviously makes tons of money for them because of the advertisement? Why would they pull out? And then I start saying, oh, well, our sales are going down. And then I was like, that doesn't make sense. Why would the NFL cause your sales to go down? And it's like, are that many people boycotting pizza because people are sitting? And then I started thinking about it a little bit more, trying to dive in a little bit deeper. And I was like, are they pulling the DirecTV move where DirecTV said, oh, because of all this NFL stuff's going down, we're refunding the NFL Sunday ticket. So people are just calling in right away and being like, oh, shit, my team sucks. I'm not watching football anyways. Boom, calling DirecTV and being like, hey, let me get my money back. I don't want it. All these NFL players are sitting. Regardless if that was the situation or not, they're just trying to get their money back. So are advertisers pulling out to try to get their money back for the advertisement and then trying to get a better deal when the NFL says, man, we really need advertisers again. I know this was how much we were charging for advertising, but now this time we'll do it for half the price.
That's a really big power play. Like that is...
I think that's why advertisers are pulling out. Not because of their high standards and because NFL players are sitting. Since that weekend we were in Arizona, it was the day after Trump did the whole players...
When was this again? September when?
23rd?
24th.
It was like, yeah, beginning of the NFL season.
Well, since that weekend and the weekend after, I haven't seen anything about the players sitting or anything like that. It's blown over. But you're still seeing advertisers pulling out because I think they're using that power play card to try to get a better deal so the next time they do advertising, they're going to get a better cut out of it.
Yeah.
Which makes sense. I mean, it's a genius business move because they're not losing anybody from it.
And they're getting good PR too, because I think the general populace is on the side of the players.
Yeah. The minute I said advertisement, you pulled up Papa John's just out of the air because everybody knows about it.
Yeah, that was on SportsCenter the other day.
And then as soon as this NFL thing blows over, Papa John's comes back to the NFL and they're like, hey, I know you guys are hurting. You guys need advertisers. We'll pay you this much. It's not going to be what our contract
was. It'll be in the off season. No one will care.
Yeah. And boom. Papa John's is back. They didn't lose anything. They got a better deal.
Yep.
NFL gets their advertisers, but they got kicked in the nuts because they everybody's pulling out and using these power moves, but they need it.
Unless Pizza Hut's like, hey, we want to do it.
There was like a pizza wars thing going on between the companies.
I'm sure there will be, but
Little Caesars is like, fuck yeah.
Bigger and better. You get 2 more
pepperonis. The extra bestest mostest.
I mean, I get why though, because like when the Subway guy Jared was official that he like raped kids and everything, like I stopped going to Subway. Mm-hmm. So I get the advertising being like, hey, like, we are being affected, and so it is a win-win for them to back out.
Yeah, for the business, definitely.
Plus, Togo's is a much better sandwich. I mean,
but that was more of a direct advert. Like when you think Papa John's, did you think NFL? I never did.
No.
And I thought Papa John's, I thought pizza.
I thought the Papa John's guy. That's a little bit what I thought of.
Right.
I thought of Papa John.
But when you think Subway, you think the Subway guy. So that was more of a direct conflict. So I can see why you would be like, nah, fuck Subway.
Speaking of the molestation and harassment, that guy, how fast did they rip every vestige of Jared from Subway? Like, instantly.
Yeah.
They were like, avocado. Let's talk about avocados real quick. Let's never talk about Jared again.
Yeah. Well, shit.
That production meeting, could you imagine, like, well, this has been our whole thing for the last, 10 years. It's like weight loss. They don't talk about weight loss anymore. You notice that.
We gain weight.
Yeah.
They props to their marketing team because they got him out and flipped the switch real quick.
They talk about nothing that involves him anymore.
That could have been the end of them. We could have never seen a Subway a day in our lives again, but there's still 3 or 4 in our freaking town.
Yeah.
I'll tell you why.
Kitty corner from me.
Because they had so much money, they were able to get freaking other backers. Like, they started getting athletes.
Mm-hmm.
Well, they were getting athletes even before that.
Yeah. So, I mean, they did the right thing. They cut Jared out of everything. They probably did a lot of donations at that point to try to help. And then
they should lower their prices, fuckers.
Yeah.
And
true.
Yes. Well, the $5 foot long, I'm sure
that was already happening though.
Was it?
Yeah.
I don't remember. It was a long time ago.
But so then that's what, in essence, if Hollywood wants to gain credibility back after all this crap.
Ooh, cheaper movies.
Exactly. Cheaper movies.
think
They
that's
should
how it
send
works.
all those producers to go see that stupid FIFA movie I was talking about yesterday.
Start caring for the little
Yeah.
people.
United Passions, horrible movie, $918 grossed.
Or, I mean, so about
But
the whole Hollywood thing, what trips me about all that is I could totally understand why people would get that mindset of that these actors and stuff are just, they're here for me. They need me more than I need them. Because that's how people act. I mean, look at any time that somebody steps up at a podium at a event on TV and they start saying one thing political, everybody's like, "Oh, shut up! You're not a person. You're just for my entertainment. You're my play toy." And it's like, that's disgusting. You can't say that about people. That's what Harvey's saying while he's jerking it in the corner.
Into the ficus?
You're my
Into the
magazine right now. Like, you can't do that.
What did that ficus do to you, Harvey?
But that's that mindset. That's just as bad as anything Harvey's done or anything that fucking
Kevin Spacey.
Kevin Spacey.
I don't know if I say it's just as bad.
I mean, the mindset is to me.
We have a
personally-
consumerism mindset where it's just like we don't care what we do, how it affects people. We just want the end product.
right,
So
which is why everything got swept under the rug for Harvey. Because like, hey,
don't upset the boat, don't rock the boat, because we all actually don't upset the trough because we all feed there.
yeah,
We're all eating at this trough. Don't fuck it up.
exactly. Things get swept under the rug because they
God.
want to, and it comes down to money. But I don't know. That's something that I don't know if you're ever going to be able to fix because that's just people.
Well,
That's
yeah.
just how it is. How
And
do you fix something like that?
You-
How does Hollywood sweep this under the rug and hope people don't talk about it anymore?
Well, they're not going to be able to. Number one, they're not
It's
going to be able
just-
to.
it's
I
gonna
think
keep get- it's
the
gonna
cat
get
is out
better,
of the bag.
right?
We're at the tip of the iceberg right now with all this crap. And I think the only way a culture change will happen, and we've talked about gun control in the last episode,
Mhm.
I think there really could be a culture change in some place like Hollywood. In a way, way more probability of that happening than something like a change in how people are going to use guns.
Yeah.
Because everyone is going to become an informer on everybody else now. That's how it's going to work. Like producers are going to all of a sudden realize and go, I don't want what happened to Harvey Weinstein to happen to me now, so I better stop fucking abusing my starlets.
I don't want to be Weinstein.
Yeah, yeah, and then
It's going to be hashtag
and then
Weinstein.
also the big tragedy about this all is it's horrible that it happened to all these adults, but if it's happening to kids and we have this huge epidemic of kids in the music industry and the movie industry and the entertainment industry all being abused and being taken advantage of by agents, and I mean, like that kid from Stranger Things, he fired his agent because that guy had just had allegations of abusing.
Finn Wolfhard.
Yeah, Finn Wolfhard fired his agent. He's like, I'm not
What?
fucking with this. Yeah, the
No
dude
way.
had allegations of sexual abuse against other kids that he represented.
Oh shit.
Yeah,
That could have been me.
yeah, exactly.
At least he got Stranger
I'm in the
Things before
upside
that
down.
happened.
Yeah,
He's gonna have some more strange things happen.
yeah, I know, right?
Hey.
But, hey.
Yeah, that's gross. That's not good. But have you guys ever had like a sexual harassment, like meetings or anything at work or anything like that?
All the time.
Do they do it at the bank at all?
Yeah, we have to take like tests and everything. Make sure that we.
Take tests?
Yeah,
Yeah,
make sure that we know what the hell's going on.
dude, Gallo was hardcore about that.
Point to where Timmy got touched and tell me why it wasn't okay.
If Bobby walks up to Wendy and says, "Hey, sugar tits, they looking good today," is this sexual harassment? Depends on the way he said it. I mean,
the best part is about some of those because they'll do scenarios like. I remember at my old job, they used to have us go 1 year. You used to have to take a test online, and it was like a class. You had to take a test. You had to go through the class and review it every year, and you had to sign off at the end.
Right.
But then every other year, you would have to go to like the DoubleTree and go to an actual class for however many hours and listen to the course, listen to people talk. But then they put all these, different scenarios.
hard ass
up-
woman in front.
yeah, they put all these scenarios like up on and that too, but all these different scenarios up on the board, and it's always like the equality of the scenarios would always make you go, this would not fucking happen, because it'd be like, hey, sugar tits, how you doing over there, and smack the ass, and it's like, yeah, okay, I could see a guy doing that, but then they would do the same. You really could see a guy doing that, like, because guys are creeps, we really are, but then you see the same scenario where like a woman comes up to, they explain it, Debbie comes up to Bob and rubs his chest and says, hey, are you getting those copies? Like, I don't know if, and she like grabs him and stuff, like in the
Bob's
scenario.
pushing 350. I don't know if she's grabbing anything.
Yeah, and I'm like, and Bob goes, no, how dare you, and walks away and then reports it to his supervisor later in the day. I'm like, I have never seen that happen. I've seen the opposite. Never seen that. And it's like they do this equality of thing like, I don't know. Like the equality's there at least, but it doesn't seem very realistic sometimes. It's not real world like experience, you know, because most sexual
Never.
harassment is usually verbal. Like in all honesty,
Yeah.
it's mostly verbal. Like you'll walk by and you'll be like, "Damn, looking good," like that kind of stuff, you know. Or like, "Oh, check out that girl over there." Oh man, you know, I mean, come on, like it's like locker room mentality with guys. It really is.
Donald Trump in it.
Yeah, Donald Trump in it. Hashtag Trump in it.
God, well, no, this is this conversation.
Yeah.
That whole little bus thing and how everybody swept it under the rug as locker room talk. I've been in a lot of locker rooms. I've talked with a lot of my guy friends. I've never said I was going to grab somebody by the pussy. Not once.
Maybe not in that way, but I'm
Not
sure he
that-
said something.
But he said it in that way. That's very vulgar.
Like,
I
you
mean, I'm
never
sure
say
people have said it, but to me, I was like, damn. Like, God. He has said that before, I'm sure. That's what's crazy about
Yeah,
it.
it just rolled right off the tongue.
Yeah, you don't just say that. I don't. I know you guys don't. I've
No.
talked with you guys all the time. That's some things like you say subtle things like "damn, she's hella hot" or "damn, I wish she made me breakfast one morning."
Every guy does that, and
That was a
every
shitty
girl,
line.
and you know, girls will drool at a hot guy with his shirt off and abs. It's
yeah.
it's in our
Case
DNA.
in point, UFC fights last night. Everybody,
Paulo used to be Boachinha. He's now Paulo Costa. Dude, that is a freaking muscle mountain of a man. He's got to pop for steroids at some point, right?
that guy's a brick house.
Dude,
Tell you what.
you should have watched the fights last night
Yeah.
because Megan was like, "Oh, hey," but he's cocky. He's
Maybe
really
that's
cocky.
the difference. Girls are a little more subtle about it. Guys will say they'll Donald Trump it.
Yeah.
That's the problem.
But we have a dead giveaway. Am I right?
It's
But
very
here's
true.
the problem. Girls always say what you want, be more
Assertive.
assertive, and if you say you want to grab him by the pussy, then you're an asshole.
That's true.
What do you want from us?
Yeah. But the thing
No,
is, like,
but
guys,
really don't. It's
guys,
disgusting.
Yeah, it is disgusting.
Yeah, we're
but guys,
disgusting.
brains only work on certain levels. We want to procreate and we want to eat. That's
Yeah.
pretty much all we want to do.
That's a good
Like
point.
Owen Benjamin has a great joke about that. He's like, feed us, fuck us, let us sleep. Like that's pretty much all guys want. That's in our DNA. He goes, we'll be happy at that point. Nothing else matters to us. That's all we want.
Well, I saw a report we get that the average male gets a boner 11 times a day.
11 times.
11 times.
That's a lot of blood.
Maybe when you're like, it's 14 or 15, but man, 11.
Well, a lot of that counts to like when you're sleeping too. Like,
Sleep
I've
on
seen
it.
Stranger Things. 11? Gosh.
Oh.
Jeez.
calm down, Weinstein. Jesus Christ.
Oh man, I don't know. I'll tell you what. It's all those. You've seen those videos or those comics on Facebook where the guy's like thinking about like sports or something that just like ruined his. Or
Yes.
the wife will look over at the husband and be like,
I wonder what he's thinking.
Yeah.
of.
Who's he thinking about?
Oh, if Connor would have just taken him down in the second
"Yeah."
round.
They're always thinking the worst, and we're literally just thinking that like golf tournament next weekend or something like that.
Is he mad at me right now? I bet you he's thinking of other girls, and you're like, man, I missed that putt.
That's the thing. Girls analyze things so much. They
They-
That's why there isn't so much sexual harassment because they don't say what's on their mind. They think it all. Us, something just pops up in our head and we say it and we don't even think about it. That's the problem.
We're stupid.
This is
Yeah.
stupid human beings.
Yeah.
This is why we have podcasts and we just talk.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing, too. That's the scary thing about sexual harassment is like freedom of speech is
Yeah.
slowly going to get taken away if we become too PC. That's
Well,
the issue.
have
There's
you
a
guys-
flip side to everything.
Have you guys ever been accused of harassment? Not sexual, just harassment in general?
No, I never
Mm.
have.
No?
Mm-mm.
I have. Not fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. And is that because of you being in the management position, or is that
Somebody took something I said the wrong way and
Mm.
just took it to the executive level.
Oh,
and
yeah.
It was a really weird situation. I mean, obviously, I can't get into too much
Yeah,
detail
yeah,
about
yeah.
it, but it made me feel super uncomfortable because, I mean, to me, I didn't feel like I did anything wrong,
Mhm.
obviously, and that's how everybody feels. But in that moment, I was like, you start thinking, like, shit, did I do something wrong? Like, was I in the wrong? Did I do something? Should I have said something differently? And then you start just replaying in your head, like, over and over and over. And it was over something so stupid, so silly. But somebody got offended enough to where, I mean, they took it that way. So I don't know, man.
And-
It was
Did it make you think, like, because I always think of this too, it's like if you get accused of something and that you didn't do or you don't really think that you crossed a line, is it scary to think that like it could ruin your life?
yeah,
Like it could take away your livelihood, and that someone has that power to just make an accusation
and that's
and
the
do
thing.
that.
It makes you feel like you're on your last chance right then and there because you're getting sat down, you're getting talked to about it. They're like, "This can't happen. I don't want to see this happen again," type thing. And it was just, and because you're getting accused of something that happened so quick, It's like you don't even know how you're going to prevent it because you didn't even know what was happening when it happened. It's different than if you went and shot somebody. In your head, you're like, oh, I have this gun. I'm going to pull a trigger and I'm going to do it. But when you're talking or when you're just having a conversation, you don't know how that person's going to react and how it's going to affect them. So in that situation, you don't know what to do. So in that situation for me, like I was blindsided by it. I mean, obviously afterwards I started talking to other people about it, not talking about what happened, but just getting an idea of how everybody else took that meeting and was I crossing lines? Did anybody else feel uncomfortable? Because you got to learn from it. Mm-hmm. But when it happened to me, I was like, whoa, like.
Well, it probably took you by surprise. You probably didn't realize it came out of the blue. It's like getting called. It's like the worst feeling in the world, getting called in the principal's office when you have no idea what the fuck you're getting called in for.
Especially for people like us, because I mean, we're good people. I mean, we'll see somebody.
We consider ourselves good people.
I consider myself a good person. Yeah. I don't know about Trevor.
I'd pull over on the side of the road and help someone change a tire. I mean,
yeah. And to be accused of something is definitely the worst feeling, especially when it's something like that. You being accused as being a sexual harasser or being a racist and stuff. I think that's why people get so defensive over certain things. It's like, whoa, one, you don't know me. And two, it's not my fault you reacted to what I said this way.
Yeah, and the problem is if you put a tag on it, you put an absolute on it, like calling someone a racist or calling someone you're a sexual criminal. You know, if you do think you call someone, you're a harasser. If you do something like that and you put a tag on it, you've drawn a line in the sand, and that now becomes the new definition of racism. That now becomes the new definition of sexual harassment. Yeah, where you have a guy like Ben Shapiro who's right wing, wears a freaking yarmulke, he's a Jew, and they call him a Nazi. Like that. You can't just start labeling things because then you lose sight of the real Nazis. You lose sight of the real racists. You lose sight of the real sexual deviants because now you've just categorized a normal person as that. And that's the scary side of sexual harassment and this whole pointing out people.
Well, and that's what society's become now, is putting a label on everything.
Yeah.
Regardless of what it is. You can't even be gay without being a certain type of gay. There's a label for everything.
Yeah.
It's a scary, scary world.
It's kind of like that Big Brother mentality. I'm sure we've talked about that. It's kind of that everyone is watching to see what you're doing so I can report it to make myself look a little bit better.
Right.
And you know what I think it is too, is it's a lot of people are reporting things like sexual harassment or pointing out things that they perceive to be sexual harassment because they're terrified of themselves being the ones who could get called out for that.
Do you think these situations, these sexual harassment, whatever kind of things, situations would be better if they just owned up to it right away and didn't think of excuses? Like the Kevin Spacey thing, he automatically went to excuse mode. He talked about his dad, how his dad was a Nazi, and he was into the whole child pornography. Was it the child pornography or something? His dad was super messed up. And then he went to, I'm gay, and like used that as a crutch and stuff like that. Instead of just being like, yeah, man, that was a shitty night. I fucked up. It won't happen again.
Yeah. I think that the whole, any scenario that you make a mistake in and you're at fault for something, the best thing to do is just be honest and come out, because people will respect you for that. Anytime you see someone get caught for steroids, we hate the people that hide it. Right. We hate the people that deny it, and then it shows that they got it. Why do people like Chael Sonnen so much in MMA? They like him because when he got caught for steroids twice, he said, yeah, I took steroids because I wanted to have a kid. You know, I took steroids. I have no problem admitting it. I got caught. No big deal.
Yeah.
And people will forgive someone much easier for admitting their mistake, and they will maybe give them a second chance at some kind of life rather than the person who makes excuses.
Yeah.
Or is serial with that. But it is harder with sexual harassment.
I mean, everybody likes a redemption story. Yeah. Everybody likes that comeback, you know, and, you know, like the Chael Sonnen thing, like you said. So to make an excuse or to try to lesser the blow of being like, oh, this guy tried to rape a little boy. It's like, oh, well, I'm gay and, you know, I have all this crazy mentality because my dad's crazy and stuff like that. It's just, you know, you're trying to push things away, be like, oh, this isn't my fault. Right. This is brought upon me. You know, I have no control over it, making excuses. So that's where you're just like, all right, you can just leave now. Like, we don't care about you anymore. Like, you know, you're digging the hole in the ground.
Yeah.
Your grave.
The worst thing about it is there's no silver lining to any of this. None. This whole Weinstein stuff, Kevin Spacey, that there's nothing good comes from it. You can only hope that maybe in the future, stuff like this won't happen because people will be more empowered and know right from wrong. But I'm sure people 20, 30 years ago were saying the same thing, that, oh man, this is wrong. This is right. Hopefully our kids will know better. But it's just people. I mean,
well, Weinstein could have been an assistant to somebody that was doing this exact same thing. And then he rose to power, and then he's training somebody else to be.
Yeah. Like maybe he had like one of those like McConaughey's scene from the Wolf on Wall Street where he's like teaching him how to do it, and he's like bumping his chest, and he's like,
"Those are rookie numbers."
You see that plant over there? And they could just be doing something like that, right? Like
see that ficus over there.
That ficus over there. You don't go for the small plants; you go for the big ones.
Yeah, man.
But and you know what's crazy too is like this whole with the Corey Feldman thing, and if we start getting these big exposure of all this child abuse going on, it's crazy because until a few centuries ago, if that, abusing children was like a commonly known thing. Like there were people that abused children all the time, and it wasn't considered an oddity. It wasn't considered something that was weird for thousands of years.
Yeah.
And only a few centuries ago, we decided like, oh, what the fuck? We cannot fuck with our kids. Like, what the heck? This is our future. This is why we got so many screwed up people. And like now, you can't have a society where you're hurting your future. You just can't. If we're going to build a society on like, everyone getting along together and not having issues like mass shootings like we previously talked about, you've got to have a society where you protect your future. I think that's the real story out of all the sexual harassment stuff is protect the kids, man.
And I think the only way to do that is for us to grow now and teach our future, because it's not going to fix itself. And acting the same way we are isn't going to fix anything either. So you got people that are saying this Weinstein stuff and not learning from it is just going to keep the same stuff going. So that's why people coming out on Twitter and making it okay to talk about it is so big, because it's going to just snowball and create more and more, and people are going to learn from it and see it. But as long as people keep doing it, don't turn it into another freaking Orlando shooting that nobody talks about anymore.
That's what scares me about this is like the momentum has to keep rolling, because otherwise we're a fickle society. You said it earlier, we're a now society. I'm scared that it's going to get buried. I'm scared that in, like you said, like the Orlando thing, in like a month, and everyone's going to be like, okay, what's next? What's the next story? Like no one even cares about certain things anymore.
Yeah.
It's all about what's new, what's happening.
Yep. So that's why, like, I think that if stuff keeps coming out piecemeal, like past abuse keeps coming out piecemeal, it will keep the story going. And it needs that. We need like that shock and awe factor. Now, sad as it is, we need that.
Yeah. So I love that we do these podcasts, because I'm hoping at one day, one year down the road, I'm going to be able to like pass these on to my kids and be like, listen to this shit. This is some important stuff. Yeah. Learn from it. Grow from it. Or they'll be like, what is a podcast? Why are we listening to this? This is so old. And they won't care, but
your kids sound really
it doesn't even work.
Yeah. But I mean, it's just this is important stuff that people should really pay attention to. I mean, I know as soon as I start hearing all the stories and start thinking about shit, have I done anything like this? I'm in a position of power. Have I ever used my power to my advantage? Obviously, I don't do what Weinstein does, but it doesn't even have to be sexual harassment. It could just be anything else.
It could just be using power. That's the scary thing about him. Is
that power trip.
It's the power, yeah. And power trips have always happened in history. I mean, everyone who's in power corrupts. That's why they say that.
Yeah. Let's vow to all be good people.
Yeah, and no more sexual harassment. If you ever see anything like that, don't be afraid to say something to someone. Like if you see something that you think is, go talk to the right person about it. I mean, that's a big thing. Don't keep it quiet if you see something like that. Like there's so much stuff from like Sandusky to, this Weinstein thing. There's so much stuff that happens in this world that could have been a lot more abuse could have been prevented if some people would have said something.
That's all for today's episode of The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. Don't forget to like and subscribe to our podcast on SoundCloud or iTunes to get all updates on future content. And just remember, it's not important who's right or wrong, but it's always important to ask why.